Is going to be doing second decided Yoo-Sin for us. He's going to hug his left arm underneath, palms open and knife hands. He's going to jump to the left in a sitting stance and do 2 knife hand elbows at the same time. He reaches his left hand to his belt and his right hand over his shoulder, and he jumps back in a punch over his shoulder. It goes completely over his shoulder, and he jumps back in the other direction, punching over his shoulder. Fist coming to his belt. That same hand will stay by his shoulder, but make a hooking block. As his left hand crosses underneath, he does a slow hooking block and a fast punch. And his left hand goes on top. He does a slow hooking block and a fast punch. He crosses his left hand on the bottom and steps at a 45-degree angle and does a left outer forearm block and then a right inner forearm block over his right shoulder. And he does a left palm heel reaching back, a palm heel in a sitting stance at the chin height, and then a punch to the body. He steps his left together. He steps his right out at another 45-degree angle and a right outer forearm block. He does a left inner forearm block over his left shoulder, a right palm heel chin height, and a left punch to the body. He turns his front stance to face toward his left with his right hand on top. He does a hooking block to that same target he's been hooking, and then he turns in a sitting stance to punch it again. He turns back to that first angle and does a left hooking block and then a right sitting stance punch, all hitting the same target. Both palms are up on his hips. He steps his right foot back and does an X block low with his left hand on top. Knife hands on his waist. He does a knife hand X block high. He closes his back fist. He rolls his wrists to face each other. He reaches his right hand to his hip and his left hand up, and he does a punch to the body. He does a front kick and a punch with his left hand. He does again an X block low, right hand on top, knife hand X block high, right hand in front, closes his left fist, wrists face each other. He rolls, opens his right palm up in the air, left fist on the belt, and then he flips over as he punches. There you go. He does a front kick and a punch. He does 4 double knife hand blocks. Reaching over his shoulder, he does 2 forward and then 2 backward. He reaches over his left shoulder and walks into a front stance with a double inner forearm block. His front hand drops slightly. He brings it back up with a low block inner forearm block in the same front stance. Then he steps forward and does the same combination, double inner forearm block, drops the front hand, low block inner forearm block. His right fist drops to his belt. He steps and does a punch in a front stance. His left hand makes a ridge hand, thumb on his pinky, crosses underneath, and he does a ridge hand block in a back stance. Both knife hands reach to his belt, and he slowly comes together into the same ready stance you do for brown belt. Both of his palms face upside down on his hips as he steps into a double uppercut to the body, to the left. He brings them back together and a double uppercut to the right at a 45-degree angle. Oh, sorry, to the left was the second one, excuse me. Right first and left. And he steps together with his right hand underneath. He does an inner forearm block over his shoulder, palm facing in toward him. He does a punch with his left hand, a horizontal punch, so his elbow is straight out from his shoulder. He's facing straight toward the back of the room. And then he does a slow horizontal punch as he comes together. Then he does a left inner forearm block in a back stance. He does a horizontal punch over his shoulder. His arms make a square in front of him, so his body is facing the back of the room. Then he slowly comes together for the horizontal punch. Okay. His palms face on his belt, left down, right up. He does a C punch to his left, and then he steps together and does one to his right. He stretches his right foot up in the air as he slaps down with the left and does an outside block with his right. So his right hand goes across his body, across his face. His right hand is over his left shoulder. Good. He brings his right foot to his knee. As he sets it back down, he does a right outer forearm block with his hand straight over his left shoulder. He brings his left foot to his knee and again does that right outside block he did before. He hugs it on the top in a backhand. He does a backhand to the head, an inside crescent kick into a side kick. He hugs his left hand on top and does a backhand to the head in a sitting stance, inside crescent kick, side kick. With his right hand starting up, he does 2 9 blocks. When he steps his left foot around, with again his right hand facing up, he does 2 9 blocks. 1, 2. He tucks his left hand underneath his right. He slides his left foot together and does a hammer fist. Ayah! Both palms face up on his hips. He steps his right foot back with a twin punch high. Both palms up again. He steps around the twin punch high the other way. He steps his right together and does a double knife hand block at a 45-degree angle. He steps together and does another double knife hand block at a 45-degree angle. He goes back to ready stance, and he's done.